Welcome to the D2 podcast. My name is Dave,
I'm sorry, I'm Dave.
and that's why we're D2, and we like to scratch the surface on subjects like politics, sports, and culture, bringing you the thinnest of analysis on all these subjects.
Yeah, I agree.
Welcome. We're going to cover a subject near and dear to our hearts. We're going to talk about Asian Americans, and specifically Asian American pop culture this week.
Right.
So, pop culture, lots been happening in the past couple years in terms of representation
Okay.
in
So,
media.
so let's just stop right there. Do you think there has been a lot of change, positive change?
That's a good question. I mean,
You know?
there has been significantly greater presence of Asian American
Definitely.
faces.
I think there's a lot more exposure of
Exactly.
Asians. There's a lot more Asians on TV,
Mhm.
a lot more movies with a lot more Asian actors and actresses,
Right.
and, cast. There's been some shows that have been almost all Asian American, which is pretty unique. I think haven't seen that 30 years ago, but at the same time, do you feel like the self-portrayal of the Asians, or the idea of just kind of holding on to stereotypes that Hollywood has always held on to in the past, has that changed a lot?
Well, okay, in terms of like comparing to past caricatures, right? We think of like the horrible stereotypes like Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's, right? He played a Japanese landlord.
Oh, he did? I'm joking.
with the buck teeth, with the horrendous accent, and doing I saw, all that bullshit, right?
Right,
So
right.
we have to acknowledge that
Well,
it has been an improvement from that, right?
when was the last time you saw something with someone doing Yellowface, so to say?
Well, the significant one that I remember was
The most recent one you can think of.
there was a movie a couple years back, starring Bradley Cooper. It was called Aloha something. It was
Really?
directed by Cameron Crowe.
Was that the
Huge
movie
director.
with what's her name?
Something Aloha. Yeah.
Okay. That actress that was supposed to be for an Asian actress, but the person playing it was white, and they had tried to make it sound like she was part Asian or Hawaiian or something in the script,
that's
but
exactly
she was
right.
actually basically all white.
It starred, I think it was Bradley Cooper and what is her name? She won the Academy Award twice.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know who you're talking about. It's like she's
what's its name?
She was a young actress.
Yeah,
at the time.
yeah. I mean, she's an excellent actress.
So Bradley Cooper did Yellowface?
No, it wasn't Well, remember Bradley Cooper did put on the Jewish nose for for Maestro.
Oh, okay.
This past year.
Yeah, interesting.
Did you know? You did not
I didn't
know
that.
Okay.
So there is a Jewish face, you think?
Well,
I never heard of that.
He put on a prosthetic to have a Jewish nose.
Oh, okay.
Or stereotypical.
So was he Jewish? Was he supposed to be playing Jewish?
Yeah, he was playing is it Cohen?
Okay, that's interesting.
And Ron, could you look up Aloha something? Cameron Crowe directed. In any case, so what the story was, it wasn't from any book or anything. It was from an original screenplay by Cameron Crowe. It was about, and one of the characters was a woman.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, that's it.
Okay.
Her character's name was
Ing, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, granted, people on the islands are known for having a lot of mixed ethnicities, right? But
sure,
that character was specifically supposed to be sort of Pacific Islander.
Yeah.
Mixed with a
Chinese.
lot of white, right? So, but she looks white in the characterization.
Well, Emma Stone, I mean, she pretty much looks like I would think she's saw her walking across the street.
Oh, I would say, oh yeah, Chinese lady, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
No, it's crazy because she's like the whitest white girl of all whites.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So
she's gonna get sunburnt when
not really fooling anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess Cameron Crowe and Emma Stone got a lot of shit for that. and I don't think it's fair to her because she's not in control of the creation of the character. But that said, for Cameron Crowe to write in this character and cast Emma Stone, who doesn't look anything remotely pigmented, is just complete horseshit.
Yeah.
Right? So they got a lot of shit for that, and the movie tanked because I heard it sucked. But that's beside the point. It's just kind of like the representation.
Why did it tank? I mean, they had all the white actors playing. I mean, what more did they want?
I know, right? That's a recipe for success.
I mean, come on,
right?
I don't understand.
I know. So
there was a Yellowface, someone playing Yellowface in there, like some white person dressing up in stereotypical, like almost a caricature.
No.
Okay.
It wasn't a caricature.
Okay.
We have to be, I think, at least fair to Cameron Crowe, is that he wrote a character that is supposed to look like.
So you're talking about Emma Stone's character?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more of like, something like where they put on makeup, they put on those glasses, and they kind of pull their eyes back or something. And
the last one that was explicit for me was The Adventures of Remo Williams. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that movie. That was back in
that was
late
like
80s.
In the 80s.
Yeah. That was the most recent one?
That comes to mind. That was so blatant.
Okay.
Because there was like a master karate guy, right?
Yeah.
Like an ancient master karate guy.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to be Korean, right?
Yeah.
His name is, Dong Fu or whatever the fuck. And
that's a Korean name.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Fu, anything with Fu.
Hong Dong Fui.
Yeah.
And this master Korean guy was played by the very Jewish man, Joel Grey, actor, Jennifer Grey's father. And so clearly not very Asiatic in appearance.
No.
But they definitely...
Jennifer Grey's dad?
Yeah. Oh, they clearly orientalized him up.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the most recent one, I kind of remember seeing it. I don't remember the movie, but it was definitely a comedy. I think Rob Schneider actually did pretty blatant Yellowface character.
Yes, it was an Adam Sandler movie, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to defend Rob Schneider because he's very problematic. Yeah, he's half Filipino, but
half. I mean,
he's half.
No, less than half.
So he counts. He counts himself.
Aside from that, he actually put on makeup and stuff to actually he didn't put his own face on there with a little makeup.
Yeah,
he did all the characters makeup stuff.
They gooked his ass up.
Yeah. It was.
I can say that.
When he walks down the street, you're not going to assume he's part Filipino.
No. You're just like,
that's crazy.
Who's this dorky white dude?
Yeah,
from Jersey.
He's kind of turned into a little more of a right wing sympathizer, at least, doesn't he?
That's a different discussion. That's why.
But anyways, that's the most recent one I saw.
Yeah, you're right. I do remember that.
I remember some skits on Saturday Night Live. They weren't really Yellowface, but I was like thinking they're really hugging the line there where they had black hair and they would start talking like they were Chinese. Like Dana Garvey, remember that? He had he was like playing a guy who owned a chicken or something.
Well, do you remember?
He had the accent.
They totally did the thing on SNL again.
Yeah.
You just reminded me where Mike Myers was playing that Japanese talk show host.
Okay.
Game show host.
Yeah.
With Chris Farley.
Yeah.
Chris Farley was this like goofy foreigner who was like, "What am I doing on this crazy television show?" And then they would put him in like acid bath and shit like that. Yeah. And he'd be like, "Oh!" And he'd be like going crazy, right?
That's gotta be funny.
And then, I mean, it was funny, but it's like they didn't do like eye makeup and all that crap.
Yeah.
But they had Mike Myers like kind of squinting a little bit. And
stuff. Yeah.
And then there was like a white actress. I forgot what her name was. She was like doing. She had no facial rearrangement.
Right.
But she was doing a little. Sauce.
Yeah.
And Janine Garofalo did the same thing.
Okay.
So it's arguably that was a little, Yellowface.
It was close, cutting it close, right?
It's right in the edge. Now,
I mean,
my question is, right, would they ever dare do something close to that with like black people?
I mean, no, they would
I
not.
but then sometimes they kind of do, like with like like when you have some white dude playing a wigger who's kind of like,
Well, they're playing a white person
yeah.
who
Can I
is
say wigger?
trying to act.
I'm gonna say wigger. Is that allowed?
Oh God, don't. All right,
Danger.
so controversial.
I know. I like to live on the
No,
edge.
but they're playing a type of white person,
Mhm.
right? That's kind of like trying to
Right.
do a little cultural appropriation.
So they're mocking the white guy.
They're more they're more mocking the white person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're really just making a caricature of black people.
Okay.
I don't see anyone like maybe they don't put on the blackface or something and then suddenly start acting like and they're supposed to be playing a black person. That wouldn't happen. You know, I mean, for actually, let's put it this way: any white person would not play a black person on TV.
They wouldn't dare.
Period.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be offensive, totally. But yeah, you wouldn't see that.
We've seen a little progression from Marlon Brando playing a so-so Japanese guy, literally playing a Japanese tea house guy, right? Back in the 60s, to John Wayne playing Western Chinese man, right?
Well, he played Genghis Khan too.
Genghis Khan, that was it. And then
My name is Temujin. I remember that.
Very authentic Chinese
Gotta
accent.
find me a Tartar girl.
Wow, you should.
I saw the movie. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
all right,
I did see it. I was like, "It's Genghis Khan," and his first in charge is black.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Wow, these are Mongols."
Makes sense. Makes sense. So there was a progression up to Joel Grey playing, Hong Dong-foo, and
So you think it's gotten better in the sense that
it's had to.
I
Get
think
better.
there's a little bit more outrage nowadays that
Okay.
Obviously someone like, let's say, Marlon Brando
Mm-hmm.
plays a Japanese guy, and does all the makeup and pulls the eyes back. I think there'd be a certain portion of the population is going to be outraged for sure, more than just Asian people. But
right.
To some degree, I'm still think like people are trying to cut it close. Like there's still
it just feels like I don't think
like if they can get away with it, they're going to do it.
People would dare anymore. It's just like unless it's like an outrageous, truly like for the purpose of inciting some kind of blowback, right? I don't think it's possible anymore.
Well, I'm wondering how recent that Adam Sandler movie was where Rob Schneider did the Yellowface thing. I mean, that was past the 2000s, I think, for sure.
It was about 10 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know, but I don't remember the name of the movie. Could have been The Wedding Singer. Could have been, I just don't know. But I definitely saw something.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Rob Schneider.
I remember that image.
Yeah. So, anyways, 10 years ago.
Is it Grown Ups?
I don't think it's Grown Ups.
No, it's not Grown Up.
Maybe it was 50 First Dates, where it was on the Hawaiian
Geez,
Islands.
that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Was that 20 years ago? Yeah. Well, then it's all good then.
It was 2000 something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it had to be like mid-2000s or something.
I think it's gotten a lot better, but I still think there's this glass ceiling where Asians cannot go past a certain point within Hollywood. Yeah,
I mean, there's certainly well, number one, we've had shows really about the Asian American experience recently. Crazy Rich Asians movie, of course, that was huge.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, I think it's not as good.
I think there's some existing problems with that movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but we're kind of nitpicking at this point in terms of like representation. Okay,
I don't know.
Romanticizing like this Asian experience from Singapore.
It's okay. First of all, it's a ridiculously exaggerated view of that culture, right? Rich folk in Asian countries. It's kind of silly. It's like a fantasy. But at least it's giving some other perspective. That's what I can say it does, right? And then we just had Fresh Off the Boat.
Okay.
Was it good? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
That's true.
It did give a little insight into the Asian American experience of growing up in the 70s and 80s, right? Which we could relate to.
It's a funny show.
And that made stars out of at least those two, the lead couple, Randall Park and Constance Wu.
Yeah.
So that brought a little perspective. And then recently we've had like more kind of almost like academically serious movies, like Minari starring Stephen Yeun.
I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, I found that to be pretty accurate in terms of the Asian American immigrant experience. Like some of the moments, I thought they're really real to life.
Okay.
Like I feel like Stephen Yeun's a good example. He's a guy who came off of a big TV show, Walking Dead, right?
Right.
And he, once he finished there, I think he should have been a bigger star right after that. He should have had his own maybe lead in a show,
right?
Or like a more of a leading man type.
Yeah.
Because the comparison that I make is him and the kid from Breaking Bad, Paul,
Jesse,
Aaron Paul, I think his name.
Yeah. Jesse Pinkman.
Yeah, Pinkman. Like he became a huge star. He started in his own TV show. He had a couple TV shows, right? And then he was starring in movies, and
I haven't really seen him in much though.
Well, it's like they weren't successful.
Okay.
I mean, they had limited success,
right?
But his opportunities were just through the roof.
Yeah.
Whereas Stephen Yeun didn't get those opportunities, and I think he's arguably
he's better. Yeah, I think so.
He could be a better actor.
I think he had to make a name for himself on his own though. More. I mean, that's probably the way he's gonna have to do it. Unfortunately. But he has the power. I think he helped produce. I think didn't he help produce Minari or something?
Yeah,
he was the big.
I think he was a producer on that.
Yeah, and like he had something to do with that show on Netflix, Beef.
Oh yeah, he produced and starred in it.
Yeah,
with Ali Wong.
Yeah,
and so I think Beef is probably the best example of a kind of sort of stereotype breaking, boundary breaking TV show that has really hit a nerve with the greater culture.
And I think like Minari was definitely good. I just think like sometimes, you need those shows maybe, but I think basically it's essentially just a show that has the same type of story, like any character of any identity could probably fit in. And in most cases they would be white actors and actresses, but in this case it was it was almost an all Asian cast. So in some ways that's good, but in other ways I feel like there needs to be shows or movies that kind of help, something unique to being Asian that's real,
right?
And it's not like fake or like all this exotic or one thing I have is like there's so much exposure with Asians in movies now. There's a lot of different movies and stuff, and a lot of even like people who are Asian American, like they critically rave about it. But when you look at it, a lot of the themes still have a lot of things that are still like kind of mystical or exotic type stuff in there,
right?
And it's like it's not really unique. I mean, I don't feel I can relate to those things. It's really kind of adds more to the foreignness of what Asian people are in America.
I totally get what you're saying in terms of it's like the Asian character on the show or whatever has always been considered exotic, the other, right? So it's like I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're getting at is like if we have Asian characters who aren't necessarily considered different, they're just like playing a regular sort of person in that context, right?
Like
that is, you feel like that's lacking.
Well, like there was a movie 30 years ago about Bruce Lee, right? And I think it was called Dragon.
Yeah, sorry.
And it got some people who were like, "Yay, this was great!"
Right.
But you watch the movie, and there's a lot of like, "Oh, he has the devils coming to get him at a young age or something, and he has to fight these demons and the mystical stuff." And it's like it just kind of pervades that. It just goes on. Like it seems to be like Asians and American Indians have that in almost a lot of their movies
Right.
for some reason.
Right.
And I can't say anything about American Indians. Maybe that's really, they can relate to that. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of like trying to, it just kind of adds to the exotification a little bit.
Right.
And almost like the foreignness too. In a weird way, like while the movie's theme was like, he's trying to be American, right?
Yeah.
He's trying to create his own unique American identity in this country. But at the same time, it's like, oh, there's kind of strange stuff. Like this is foreign. This is, this perpetual foreigner type thing. It's just something I noticed. I mean, I wish it wasn't as much in there a lot.
So even in today's sort of pop culture shows that are out,
in
they
quite a few shows.
They still rely on that Eastern mysticism.
I still, even like, what is that show? It was, I don't know, it didn't do that well, but it was on Netflix. It was kind of a martial arts, the Sun Brothers. Okay. It had still like, I mean, it wasn't very serious, but it still had those themes a little bit. Did
they have the
types of themes?
The flute background noise?
Maybe. I mean, chances are, yes. If I had to put my money down.
It is pretty effective.
Yeah.
You have to. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, after all, we all know how to play the flute, right?
Well,
in that way.
My parents made me quit the clarinet, so I never got to the flute.
You suck.
I'm not a fool. My Asian card got taken back. So.